So, you want to find a good apartment in Shenzhen? The kind that when your parents come to visit, they don't go, "When are you coming home?" And instead go, "Man, maybe we should move here." Yeah. Okay, so first off, I'm assuming that you speak no Chinese and are looking for your first Chinese apartment. Now this tutorial is going to be Shenzhen specific, but it'll work for anywhere in China, really. So first off, download an app called 58 Tongcheng. If you don't speak any Chinese at all, no worries, I'll leave everything that you need to copy and paste in the description. Now be warned, this app is god-awful. You'll just have to ignore that. And once you've downloaded the app, tap 租房. Now, the only Chinese that you're gonna have to look up yourself is the name of the area that you plan to live. Generally, if you know where you'll be working, you'll know the nearest subway station. So you can just use the Metro app or Google Translate to figure out the name of the nearest station in Chinese. Then enter that at the top. This app is supposed to have features such as for rent by individual or for rent by agent. But the app is so overrun by spam from the countless agencies that the filters do nothing. Depending on how much you want to spend, you can filter by price. But in my experience, living with roommates, I look to spend around 10,000 RMB. The app thinks that if you spend anything over 8,000, well then obviously you're extremely rich and you can afford 120,000 a month. Literally, over 8,000 is the last option. So scroll through until you see something that catches your eye and is around your price range. Remember, you can haggle. The information is self-explanatory and the titles are clickbait. Ignore everything but the pictures. The videos are usually by some agent who films like a child that took their parents' phone and then accidentally recorded while walking through the house, with brilliant commentary such as, "Oh, I'm glad you told me, I thought it was the living room." Oh look, it's the same house again. Different agent.
看看细节做得也很好，这个看相非常好啊。
So this is the look of the living room and maybe this is the kitchen and here's the bedroom, another bedroom. It's the house. Other times, they just take the photos and then warp them to make you think that there's a video to watch. Not kidding. Things to note. Yi, zhong, and gao are low, medium, and high. They refer to the floor that the apartment is on. Depending on which one you want, it's usually listed at the bottom. Unfortunately, they don't tell you the exact floor, but you get the idea. Also, oftentimes you'll find the same place listed at different prices. These places, you can get an even better price on because they're having trouble renting it, especially if it's a place listed by an agent and not a real person. Now, if you see a place that you like and you want to go see it, scroll down and check the profile picture. If the person is wearing a suit and tie or it looks like a passport photo, it's an agent. 99.9999999% of the time, it's an agent. Don't expect to get lucky and be able to find a situation in which you rent directly from the landlord. Also, don't worry about being rude or blunt. The less banter, the better. They prefer it that way. Simply send a message saying, "Add my WeChat," or in Chinese, 加微信, followed by your WeChat ID. They will immediately say, "Okay," and add your WeChat. Once they've added your WeChat, feel free to speak English with them. They won't speak any English, but they will make every effort to speak English with you anyway, even if it means having to use the built-in translation features. Use simple English so nothing gets lost in translation, and you'll be able to communicate just fine. Say that you would like to go see the apartment, and when you are free to do so. Usually, they're free immediately. They'll often want to show you a bunch of other places as well. So now is the time to send them the links to the places that you want to see so they don't go find some places you don't want to see and drag you to go see them. You may want to build a list of places before you send any messages just to save your time. So now's the time to go into WeChat and search Qfanglong. WeChat has built-in mini programs and they also have one for 58 Tongcheng. So depending on whether or not you've already set up WeChat, you can either download the app from the App Store or just use the mini program within WeChat. Sometimes the app works better, sometimes the mini program works better. Try both. Inside Qfanglong, you will only find listings posted directly by Qfanglong agents. There may be some overlap from our previous app, as well as tons that you haven't seen before. The apps are basically carbon copies of each other, so just follow the same steps as 58 Tongcheng. Now when you've finished looking through Q Fangwang, check 乐有家, 连家. Again, same experience over and over and over again, only with different listings. Now, once you have your master list, send them all to the agent. Remember, if you leave the agent to themselves to find places for you, they will most definitely find whatever is available and you will not be satisfied. Doesn't matter if you give them a list of requirements, they will ignore all of them and go, this one's available. The whole thing could be summarized using the classic Patrick meme. This house looks awful.
Yup.
And there's mold behind the counters and in the cracks.
Yup.
And I told you I wanted a clean apartment with no mold and not falling apart.
Makes sense to me.
So I don't want to go see this place.
What time will you be free to go see the place?
I know, it is frustrating to have to pay a broker fee when you did all the work, but there's always the possibility you can get the landlord to pay for it. It's open for discussion. The broker may tell you that it's not, but it is. Things to check for when looking for an apartment. Make sure to turn on everything. No, literally everything. Landlords like to go, you signed the lease. I mean, that means you knew the stove wasn't working and that you're okay with it, so you pay to fix it. For example, when testing the appliances at a place I was looking at, the hairdryer in the bathroom blew the circuit breaker and also blew up in my roommate's hand. So I got a camera ready to try the one in what would be my bathroom. The hairdryer blew up. Check for loose tiles or pieces of wood that are held on by layers of mold. Does the house have new appliances? Are you sure? The agent might say, this place has new appliances. Well, are they new to this house? Are they new from 10 years ago? The phrase 装修好 technically means finished being remodeled. But in the eyes of the landlords and brokers, it means at one point in history, this place was remodeled. This place is labeled as newly remodeled. 10,000 a month. I asked, so will they be willing to get rid of this type of problem? The answer I got was, but it's newly remodeled. When I say, this is gross, the answer I get is, houses are generally like that. This is actually considered pretty good. A common response to any type of complaint is, everyone's remodeling style is different. Yeah, this is a remodeling style. Cover up the mold with some shitty plants. Perfect. 10,800 a month. Check under everything for mold. It is very normal to find a large mold spot covered up by a large piece of furniture, or just inside cabinets that haven't been opened in 10 years, or behind randomly placed pieces of wallpaper. Guess what you might find under there? Test all of the cabinets and make sure that they open. Or that they're even cabinets at all.
Oh, this is totally
Seriously,
perfect. Let me just
check.
put my stuff in the... Alright?
Make sure that the house that you're seeing isn't blocked off for COVID quarantine. Check the drains. More than likely, even after you take out the huge glob of hair that's never been cleaned out, it still won't drain well and will need to be fixed. Remember, these houses are as is. The landlord never plans to live there. They just keep renting it to person after person after person, and once you move in, they will try their best to say, everything from now on is your responsibility. They won't even clear out the soy sauce from the previous tenant. That's your job. This is your house now. Oh wait, but it's also my house, so don't change anything or do anything or get rid of any of my stuff. I'm storing it all at your house. Oh, and speaking of storing it at your house, the furniture situation here is just weird. When renting a house, the landlord provides the furniture, and it's almost never even kind of good. In fact, it's so abnormal for renters to have their own furniture that whenever I moved, the community guards ask me for proof of ownership of the furniture in order to take it away. That means that if you do have your own furniture, you have to negotiate with your new landlord about taking away their crap furniture. I asked the landlord of this place if she would allow me to remove the desk from the bathroom. And she said, if if you decide that you want the place, then we can discuss whether or not I'll remove it. Then, landlords like to treat the space like it's their storage facility. If you want to get rid of some old piece of dirty furniture, they'll often say, "But I have nowhere else to store it. Just leave it there. Move it to the side and you could put your furniture there too." So you're going to either have to make sure that you like the furniture that's already there, or just find a place that doesn't already have furniture to begin with. Because I can't imagine you really want to sleep on that 20-year-old mattress with pee stains on it. Speaking of pee stains, in China, it is the tenant's responsibility to clean the apartment to their liking. When they move out, anything they leave behind, that is now yours to deal with. The landlord has no responsibility to clean the place. You know how in the US, and I assume in Europe, you see pictures of the place and they look glamorous in comparison to how it might look on your worst day? Yeah, not the case here. The pictures they upload and the condition it's in when you go see it should be embarrassing to the landlord. But nope, all they care about is when are you moving in? So not only do you have to deal with the stress of moving, but now you also have to make sure the place is clean before you start putting your stuff away. Whether you get the landlord to pay for it to be cleaned is up for discussion, but more often than not, the landlord will be annoyed that you even asked. Sometimes they might go, oh, before we go in, you gotta make sure to put on these wasteful plastic shoe covers. The landlord actually paid to have this place cleaned and we don't want to get their floors dirty. I think it's actually more about protecting your feet from the landlord's nasty floor. Because the landlord's standards of, "I just had it cleaned," are probably not the same as yours. If you can get all of your requirements written down as, "They will be fixed before you move in," well then you're in the clear, and your stay will be great. If not, you may have a hard time arguing with the landlord after the fact. Once you've gone to see the places, the agent will almost always say, "Okay, so which one did you like? Which one do you want to take?" More often than not, you liked none of them. They'll try really hard to convince you that these places are actually great, and you most definitely should consider taking them. If you need to, find another agent. Looking is free. Sometimes only one agency has access to specific apartments, and you may need to bounce back and forth between agents. Sometimes the landlord just changes the lock randomly and doesn't tell anyone, so then you waste your time going with the agent to see the place and then he embarrasses himself because he can't get you in. They're all just trying to get their commission and want you to move in as fast as possible. They also get paid more commission the more rent you pay, so they are incentivized to get you to pay more in rent. You just gotta stay strong and hold out for a place you actually like at a price that you find actually reasonable. Trust me, you are going to see a ton of crap. That was shitty. You'll see dozens of places that are almost good, but are just ruined by something unusable. I'm currently in the middle of doing it for the third time, involuntarily. And this experience is most definitely not fun. But in the end, you can find something that you genuinely like. You don't have to settle for something that you deem unacceptable. There is something better. You just have to find it. And then pay the damn agent fee that feels so unearned after you did all the work. But even in my position, after almost 15 years of Chinese learning experience, my apartment hunting experience is no different. The only difference is that I now know how to handle it. And now, so do you. Trust me, I'm not trying to discourage you from living here. I am very pro living in China. This is simply an unfortunately necessary guide for getting around the greed of a pro-landlord system. As long as you know your way around the terrible system, your experience living in China will be awesome. Again, I'm going through my third move in China. The first 2 times, I didn't really know what to look out for. So my experience was less than ideal. Want to hear about it? Well, of course you do. That's why you're subscribed. And why you're going to watch the next video in this series. See you then.